The story begins with a man named Garson being led into a room by a valet. The room is quiet and strange. It has no windows, no mirrors, no clocks. The lights are always on. There's a bronze statue on the mantle and 3 sofas. The door closes behind Garson. He is locked in. He knows he's dead. He tries to act calm, but he's nervous. He asks the valet questions, trying to figure out what kind of hell this is. He wonders where the fire is, where the whips are, where the pain will come from. But the valet tells him there are no torture devices, just the room. Then the valet leaves, and Garson is alone. Soon, a second person arrives. Her name is Inez. She is sharp and suspicious from the start. She doesn't trust Garson and immediately questions everything around her. She also knows she's dead. She assumes this is hell, but she's trying to figure out what kind. Not long after, a third person enters. Her name is Estelle. She is very proper, elegant, and clearly uncomfortable. She's surprised that there are no mirrors. She wants to check her makeup and dress. She seems more worried about appearances than the fact that she's dead. Now all 3 are in the room. They begin talking. At first, they try to stay polite. They're strangers, after all. Each one avoids giving too much away about their past. They all act as though they don't belong in hell. But the room makes it hard to hide. There's nothing to do, no distractions, no place to look but at each other. They begin to ask questions. Slowly, the lies start to crack. Garson says he was a journalist. He talks about being killed by a firing squad. At first, he pretends he was brave, but eventually, the truth comes out. He tried to run away from the war. He deserted. He was scared, and he died ashamed. He also mistreated his wife terribly. Inez is more direct. She says she was cruel to people. She ruined a relationship between her cousin and a woman. She moved in with the woman and manipulated her emotionally. In the end, the woman turned on the gas while they were sleeping, killing them both. Inez knows why she's here. She believes she belongs. Estelle tries to deny everything. She says she died from pneumonia. She says she doesn't understand why she's in hell. But then the truth slips out. She married an older man for his money, had an affair with a younger man, got pregnant, and drowned her baby. When the man killed himself, she acted like she was shocked. But she felt nothing. Now the room feels smaller. Each person begins to want something from the others. Garson wants Inez to say he wasn't a coward. He believes that if she can forgive him, maybe he can forgive himself. Inez wants Estelle to desire her. She becomes cruel and mocking, trying to manipulate both of them. She refuses to lie. She takes pride in exposing the truth, especially when it hurts. Estelle wants Garson to want her. She flirts with him, begs for his attention, and pleads for some kind of intimacy. But Garson pulls back. He doesn't trust her. The room grows more tense. They begin to understand what this place really is. There's no one here to punish them. No devil, no fire, only each other. They are the punishment. Each one reflects something awful back at the others. Garson can't escape the look in Inez's eyes, the look that tells him he's a coward. Estelle can't stand that Inez sees through her. Inez is tortured by watching Garson and Estelle pretend they can feel love. They try to escape the truth. They try to find comfort. But the room won't let them. Then something strange happens. The door opens. Garson could leave, but he doesn't. He walks to the doorway, he looks out, and then he stops. He turns around, he doesn't go. Because freedom doesn't mean anything when your shame follows you. Because even if he walks out, he still won't know who he is. He still won't know if he was brave. He still won't know if he deserves peace. And the only people who know him are in that room. So he stays. That's the ending. They are all stuck. Because the judgment of others has become their prison. They don't need fire. They don't need chains. They just need each other. And that's what Sartre was saying. Hell is not about punishment. It's about perception. Hell is not beneath us. It's between us. Hell is other people. Hell doesn't begin with fire. It begins with a door that locks behind you. 3 people, 1 room, no mirrors, no escape, only eyes. They are not friends. They are not enemies. They are each other's punishment. Garson wanted to be brave. He died a coward. Inez wanted love. She only knew how to wound. Estelle needed to be seen, but refused to be known. They bring their shame, their unfinished stories, their accusations, their masks, and they wait. They speak, they lie, then break, then lie again. There are no windows, there is no sleep, no silence, only a stage where you are forced to play yourself in front of people who cannot look away. Hell is not chaos, hell is repetition, hell is a closed loop. Sartre did not give them flames. He gave them mirrors, mirrors in the form of each other, reflections that bite. You want to hide? Good luck. They see you, they name the thing you buried, they peel it, they stare, and then they won't stop talking. That's the sentence. To be witnessed forever. Not as who you want to be, but as who you are when the performance collapses. There's no escape, because the room isn't the trap. The trap is yourself, your ego, your guilt, your need to be good in the eyes of people who see through you. Garcin begs for validation. Inez mocks him. Estelle flirts with ghosts. They orbit each other like broken stars. Their gravity is need. Their heat is shame. There are no devils, only conscience, no guards, only eyes. And the door? It opens, just once. Garcin could leave, but he doesn't. He can't. Because freedom means facing yourself. And most of us would rather rot than do that. He says, they look at me and I feel naked. Because that is the hell Sartre built. A space where the costume falls off and you are still expected to speak. They want silence, but no one stops talking. They want solitude, but the room is full of eyes. They want forgiveness, but no one here is capable of mercy, because each is too obsessed with their own reflection to grant you freedom from yours. You are what you did, not what you meant, not what you hoped, and they will remind you forever. You scream, I'm not that person, but the room doesn't answer because Inez already did, and she sees everything. No exit is not a story. It is a condition. It is the truth we all run from, that other people are not distractions. They are mirrors, and in their gaze you unravel. There's no climax, no redemption, only eternity. In a room with the people you cannot leave, and the versions of yourself you cannot escape. You think you would walk out that door, but ask yourself, what if the door opened and you chose to stay, not because you liked it, but because the outside is worse, because it demands you carry your shame into daylight? Sartre didn't write a play. He wrote a prophecy of digital selves, of algorithmic prisons, of public eyes that never blink, of group chats with no exits. They want to remember there are no flames, no torturers, only the terrible weight of being perceived and the unbearable pressure to pretend. You are not tortured by others, you are defined by them. And when their image of you hardens, you can't breathe. That is the true fire. It burns without light. It burns in the soul. You don't get reborn, you get replayed endlessly until you admit that no one is coming, that the judgment is permanent, and the sentence is you. Welcome to Sartre's hell. No demons, just doors that never close all the way, and a room full of people who see everything you wish you could forget. You go to work, you smile, you perform a version of yourself someone else can tolerate. You don't know who you are until someone tells you who you're supposed to be. Your online profile is a costume stitched from desire, fear, and approval. You measure worth in attention. Silence feels like death. Every conversation is a negotiation between your shame and their perception. You edit your sentences before you speak, just to survive their gaze. You're trapped in group chats with people you outgrew years ago. Social media is a theater of mutual judgment. You can't leave because you're the star. Your coworkers never see the real you. They see a curated version, just functional enough to be useful. You're afraid to leave relationships not because of love, but because of how you'll be seen if you do. You can't unfollow your past. It watches you. At parties, you laugh just enough to be liked, never too much to be noticed. Even your grief is performative. Grief filtered for likes. Grief designed to signal identity. You're not allowed to change. Change confuses them, so you shrink instead. Family dinners are rehearsals of identities you no longer believe in. Silence in a relationship becomes louder than any scream. You feel lonelier in a group than alone in your room. Every time you walk into a room, someone has already decided who you are. You rehearse who you need to be before they ask who you are. No one really listens. They wait to respond. You weren't born with shame. Someone taught you how to see yourself through their eyes. You apologize for boundaries. You explain your absence like a crime. Modern love is performance anxiety. Swipe, pretend, repeat. You don't rest. You recharge just enough to show up for another round of perception. You can't escape the group text without being exiled emotionally. You edit your identity daily, optimizing for audience, not truth. You're terrified of being misunderstood, but more terrified of being fully known. Jobs require emotional labor. The paycheck is your silence. You feel more seen by strangers online than by your closest friends. You're not loved. You're interpreted. Even your rebellion is curated to be palatable. Your home isn't a sanctuary. It's a set. You were raised to maintain peace, not truth. They don't see you. They see who they were when they first met you. You're trapped in the character you played to survive. You don't seek love. You seek witnesses. You avoid honesty because it threatens the fragile social contract. You've learned to narrate your trauma before you've even healed from it. You are haunted by versions of yourself that never got to be. Your face in the mirror is just a report card of everyone else's opinions. You can't say no without explanation. You can't say help without shame. You curate even your breakdowns for relatability. You tell stories of your past pain so others will validate your present value. You're not healing, you're broadcasting. You've been taught to be a palatable version of your pain. You don't cry until it's quiet. And even then you apologize, you call it self-expression. But you're just delivering a brand. You're afraid of stillness because in stillness no one is watching. And without being seen, you're not sure you exist. This is Sartre's hell, not dramatic, not theatrical. It's quiet. It looks like brunch photos. It smells like office air. It feels like smiling until your cheeks go numb. We perform until our real selves wither. We stay in rooms that suffocate us just to avoid being alone. We crave intimacy but weaponize vulnerability. We ask to be held and flinch when someone reaches in. We stay in loops, with people, with platforms, with pain. You don't have to be in a play. You're already in the room. With no mirrors, no silence, just surveillance, and endless conversations you can't walk out of. Because you're afraid that if you leave, no one will follow. The room isn't real, but the trap is. Most of us live like Garson, waiting for someone to tell us who we are. We shape our lives around judgment, approval, image. We stay in roles long after they've hurt us, because we're terrified of being misunderstood, misnamed, unloved. But here's the truth. You don't need their permission to leave the room. You escape when you stop needing your worth to be confirmed. You exit when you stop handing people the mirror they use to shrink you. You reclaim your selfhood the moment you say, "This is who I am," even if you don't understand me. The judgment of others will never stop. But it loses its power the moment you stop performing for it. Forgive yourself, define yourself, and walk out, not with rage, but with peace. The world may never stop watching, but you don't have to keep acting. Freedom isn't out there, it's in here. It's in your refusal to be reduced. So take one last look at the room, at the eyes that held you hostage, and then whisper to yourself, let's not continue. Let's begin.